Well, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party has officially kicked off at the Magic Kingdom for this holiday season. It began on November 8th and it goes all the way until December 22nd. So there's a bunch of dates that you can go and check out the Christmas party this year at Magic Kingdom. But one thing that I really like to do when it comes to going to the parties at the Disney parks is I always like to look ahead of time what events are happening, what's offered, and if there's any tips or tricks that I can use for my visit. And on social media, Disney has shared themselves some tips for you whenever you are going to the Very Merry Christmas Party this year. So I wanted to do a quick video sharing some of the tips that they share for you whenever you are going to the Christmas party this year. So I'm excited to bring these tips along to you. And the first ones we're going to talk about are tips for bringing little ones to the party. So say you're going this year and you're bringing your family and you have some kids coming along. Here are some great tips that you can use whenever you are going to the party that may be helpful if you have young ones. And then they also have tips and must-dos for adults, and then some other tips and tricks that we'll talk about here later. So let's get into the tips for little ones. The first thing that they recommend when going to the Very Merry Christmas Party this year is to bring layers. Now, although you are going to Disney World, of course it's the Sunshine State, you may think that it's very warm when you are going, but this event does take place in the late fall to winter time, and even though it is Florida, it does get chilly in Florida. So I know whenever I go to Florida during the winter time or winter season, I always like to bring layers with me because you never know when it may dip down in temperature in the evening. So what my favorite thing to do is I usually like to wear a long sleeve shirt and then either bring a flannel or a jacket to have over top that I can put in my backpack or just know that I'll have on hand in case it does get chilly. The reason why I say this too is because the last thing that you would want is to get to the party, figure out that you're chilly, and have to run into one of the stores and purchase a sweatshirt or a coat that could end up being very expensive. So I always recommend, and Disney's recommending here, to bring layers so you have them on hand. So in the evening when it does dip down in temperature, you can still stay comfortable during the party. Especially for your little ones, if they get cold, you want to make sure that they are staying comfortable even in the evening. It's nice to have layers for them as well. It's not uncommon for people to wear hats and gloves to these events as well. So always make sure that you're checking the weather ahead of time to see what the weather is going to look like, and so that way you know how to properly plan your outfits for the party. The next tip that it says, been there, spilled that. Capture your holiday card photos before enjoying that first cup of complimentary hot cocoa. So a part of the event, one very neat thing is you can actually get free hot chocolate and cookies for the entire event. So what Disney's recommending here is if you're going to the event and you know you want to get your Christmas card photos or just photos to remember the event by, maybe go ahead and get those early on in the event in case your little one does have some hot chocolate and spills it on them accidentally. It's nice to get your photos already good and out of the way ahead of time so that way you can enjoy the rest of your evening in case anything does happen. The third thing they say is to dance the night away with festive friends at the Rockin' Dance parties. So they have a lot of festivities that happen at the Very Merry Christmas Party. There's the fireworks, the parades, but one thing that's great for kids and adults, I know I enjoy them myself, but one thing that they have are some character dance parties around the park. So they have a dance party in Tomorrowland with some of the Monsters, Inc. characters. They have a dance party at the Storybook Circus with, I think, Vampirina and some of those characters. And then they also have a Tinsel Town, or I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's in Cosmic Rays. They have a dance party with some of the reindeer. So this is a great thing to do if you do have little ones that you're going to the party with. It's fun going and seeing a lot of the characters. That's a great time for you to be able to go see some of the Disney characters in their Christmas costumes. So you can go and check out a lot of characters that way, and I know kids really enjoy it. Oftentimes there's a DJ there that's very interactive. They get the crowd interacting and doing dances, which is very fun. And I know it's fun for kids too because they enjoy the dance parties and the characters that are there. So know that there are 3 dance parties at the Very Merry Christmas Party that you can go and check out if you have kids, or if you enjoy dancing and enjoy seeing Disney characters, that's a great way that you can go ahead and do that as well. Then the fourth thing that they're saying here is don't miss out. You don't want a sleepy little one to miss the the very special guest during Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas Time parade, so catch the first run. So when you go to the Very Merry Christmas Party, there are a lot of event times that the events do happen. The dance parties seem to happen the entire evening, but there's a parade that happens. There's 2 showings of the parade. There's 1 showing of the fireworks, and then there is a stage show that happens in front of the Cinderella Castle. So what Disney is recommending here is to catch the first showing of the parade, so that way your little ones can go ahead and see their favorite characters and the parade before it maybe gets too late and you have to leave early from the party. So the Very Merry Christmas Party does happen from 7 p.m. till midnight officially. So that is a very long amount of time, and it is very late for little ones if you do decide to leave early. They are recommending that you go to the earlier showing so that way you can see the parade. I think the early parade starts at 8:30. I believe is when the parade starts. So that is the first showing of the parade, and then the next one is at 11 p.m. So if you know you want to see the parade with your little ones, definitely check out the first showing so that way your little one can go ahead and check out the parade. Now they do also they had a post about tips for bringing young ones. Another posts that they had were must-dos for the grown-ups. So we're going to walk through some of the must-dos that Disney recommends you do whenever you are visiting the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Now, what they say is, hey Emma, if you are planning on staying late to the party, so like I said earlier, the party does happen officially from 7 p.m. till midnight. So it says, if you are staying late, catch the second performance of Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas Time parade and the later showings of Mickey's Most Merriest Celebration once all the little guests have left. So like we talked about earlier, Disney did recommend if you're bringing loved ones or young ones to the party, go ahead and see the first showing of the parade so that way you can see it in case you have to leave early for your little ones. But if you are an adult going, they're recommending to go to the second showing of all of the events so that way maybe you can get some of the rides in and maybe it's a little bit less busy. So you can check out the later showings to make the most of the event that is happening there. So like I said earlier, there's 2 showings of the parade, there's 1 showing of the fireworks show, and then there's 4 different showings of the stage show that's happening in front of Cinderella Castle. So that's one tip that they have. The second must-do that they have is, it says, let it snow, immerse yourself in the festive ambiance, and enjoy the falling snow or the snow falling on Main Street, USA. So this is a very neat thing that they do in the Disney World parks or in Magic Kingdom specifically. It actually snows during the event, which is a very fun thing that you can go and check out during the actual Christmas party. So you'll want to make sure that you check that out. That does happen on Main Street in Magic Kingdom. I've seen that it happens during the parade. I'm not sure if there's other times that it happens during the event, but if you want some fun photos and to enjoy some snow whenever you are down on Main Street, you definitely will want to go check out Main Street to be able to go and see that. Another thing that it says is characters aren't just for kids. Be on the lookout for Disney pals dressed in their holiday best. So one thing that is very nice about the holiday parties is a lot of times they end up bringing a lot of characters out that you don't normally see during normal operating hours or normal park days. And all these characters are going to be in Christmas costumes. So this is especially good for you to go and check out. A lot of times they have exclusive characters and events at these Christmas parties, so it's nice to know ahead of time what characters they may have there, so you can always do some searching to see what characters will be there during the party. But just know too, whenever you are getting into the park, they will often hand out a party map for you, so that way you know where everything is located. On those party maps, you can go ahead and look at where some of the character meet and greet places will be, so you can go and see what characters will be there whenever you are actually at the party, so you can go and do some meet and greets. Oftentimes, lines for these meet and greets can get very long. Since the party does start at 7, what I did for the Halloween party was I actually went and checked out some of the character meet and greets around 7 when the characters were just coming out. Lines weren't super long because later on in the party they do start to get a little bit busier. So that's definitely some planning that you're going to want to do there. See what characters you absolutely want to meet. Of course, you can always walk by and kind of do a selfie with a character, but if you really wanted to meet them face to face and actually do a meet and greet, just know there may be a little bit of a long line, and just kind of know that there's a little bit of planning that goes around that. But there are very fun characters that come around. You can, of course, go to the dance parties we talked about earlier. That's where you can see a lot of characters and you don't necessarily have to wait in line. And the parades are always fun too, that you can see some characters. And it also says, make your list and check it twice. Snag holiday merchandise to put on in your family stockings or your own. So right now, the party just started on November 8th. So at this video recording, we have only had officially one party happen. So far, we haven't seen any event exclusive merchandise, but if they do decide to have some, it will be in the Emporium on Magic Kingdom. But besides event exclusive merchandise, Disney does have a ton of great holiday merch this year that you can go and check out. So if you did want to do some holiday shopping, you of course can do it before the party starts. You do get admission at 4 p.m. to get into Magic Kingdom before the party officially starts. So that is a great time to do some holiday shopping, or after the party ends at midnight. I know it's going to be late then, but that's always a time that you can go and do some holiday shopping as well. So that way you can kind of maximize your time. So those are some tips that Disney shares as far as must-dos for grown-ups. So we did talk about tips for little ones, tips and must-dos for grown-ups, but now we'll get into the holly jolly tips and tricks that Disney shares, as well as just overarching general tips. The last tip that they shared as far as holly jolly tips and tricks goes, so these are just general tips that they recommend as far as going to the Christmas party. So the first one they say is tickets please. The holiday gathering begins at 7 p.m., but ticket holders can arrive as early as 4 p.m. This is a huge perk whenever it comes to the parties, in my opinion. When we went to the Halloween party, you were able to get in at 4 p.m. as well, even though the party officially started at 7 p.m. And I loved this because when you're able to get in at 4 p.m., this gives you enough time to get into the park, to actually get situated, and to start and kind of do some other Magic Kingdom things before the party officially starts. So during this time, we went and did some of the Magic Kingdom attractions that weren't necessarily holiday ones. So we went and did like Haunted Mansion. We did a couple of other ones like Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff, Jungle Cruise. We kind of did all of the other Magic Kingdom things, so that way we can make time and make the most of the actual event things that were happening during the Christmas party. So when you're going to the party, I recommend going ahead and getting there at 4 p.m. If you are actually in the park the day that you're going to the party, you don't have to go out of the park. There are separate wristband stations where you can go and pick up your wristband and everything else you need in order to be there for the party. So don't worry about having to go out of the park. You can already stay inside of Magic Kingdom. But I definitely recommend getting there at 4 p.m. so that we can get into the park and absolutely maximize your time there for the party and just being in Magic Kingdom in general. Another thing they recommend, tips-wise, is to satisfy your sweet tooth by stocking up on complimentary cookies and hot chocolate offered throughout the park. So we talked about earlier with your little ones to get photos early, so that way if there's any spills or anything that happen, that is with the complimentary hot chocolate that they have. So they do have, like at the Halloween party, they had the trick-or-treat stations around. At the Christmas party, they have hot chocolate and cookies that you can go ahead and pick up that are free of charge. So this is another thing that's going to be helpful with the map. When you have the map going to the park, you can check out all of the areas that they're going to have the complimentary hot chocolate and cookies. So you can go and grab those all throughout the party. It's just a nice little sweet treat that they have. They do also have some exclusive event treats that you can go and get. These are for purchase though. They aren't complimentary, but you can go and check those out. There was a really good bear claw pastry that I thought looked very good, and a Mickey ornament treat, but they also have some other event exclusive treats that you can check out as well. So that's something you'll want to take advantage of. That is a free thing that you can do at the party. But another thing they recommend, it says, oh, what fun. Check out the decked out attractions like Space Mountain Holiday Run, Tomorrowland Speedway Race Through the Holidays, Jingle Cruise, and more. So the nice thing that they have at the party, not only do they have the parade, the fireworks, all the other events like the dance parties, but some of the attractions at Magic Kingdom actually do get a holiday overlay just for the party. So the Jingle Cruise, or formerly the Jungle Cruise, is the only ride that actually gets a holiday overlay for the entire season. All of these other rides are just event exclusive holiday rides that they have at the park. So for the Space Mountain Holiday Run, this is a ride. This is the Space Mountain ride, but instead of it being your typical Space Mountain, it does get some holiday lights inside of the ride, and it also gets some holiday music that you can check out during the actual ride whenever you're riding. So I saw on a video, the ride looks like it has some green and red lights that flash around, and you can actually see the ride very well. Usually it's a very dark ride, but with these lights you can actually see it very well. But one tip that I did share the other day was, if you don't like riding roller coasters, or if you aren't a fan of Space Mountain but you still kind of want to check out what the ride looks like, you can go on the People Mover, and there is a portion of the People Mover that does run through Space Mountain, so that could give you an opportunity to see the ride, kind of experience it without actually going on the actual coaster. Another ride that they have is the Mad Hatter Tea Party. That gets turned into the Mad Hatter Holiday Party. I can't remember the actual name of it, but it gets, there are 4 different rides that you can ride to. There are different Christmas lights that happen during the ride and Christmas songs. And then the Tomorrowland Speedway also gets a holiday overlay. So I like this because if you've gone to Magic Kingdom a lot and you've ridden all of the Magic Kingdom rides, sometimes it's nice to have a fresh new feel to the rides. So this gives you an opportunity to kind of see the rides in a different light, especially with a new holiday way. So know what rides you can check out that have holiday overlays ahead of time. Maybe don't ride these before the party starts, so that way you can take advantage of other attractions that are in Magic Kingdom and save these rides for when the party actually happens to see them with that holiday overlay. And the last tip that they have is to capture the magic. Step right into a holiday scene at the new interactive photo locations and make very merry memories with festive PhotoPass magic shots. So if you are a pass holder and you have the PhotoPass system linked to your account, or if you're going for one of the first times, you can of course go and purchase the PhotoPass system to take photos around the park. But one really fun thing that they have with the PhotoPass system is they actually have magic shots that you can take advantage of throughout the park. And I really like this because sometimes you don't know what PhotoPass or what magic shot you're going to get, so it's kind of a surprise later on in the evening. Once the photo pops up, you can see what character or what type of overlay they put in the photo. So if you want to remember your time at the Very Merry Christmas Party, or if you wanted to get some photos for your Christmas cards or just holiday cards, you could of course go and take advantage of the PhotoPass system that they do have around the park. On the map, like we keep talking about, they do have pointed out where all of the PhotoPass areas are at, so that way you can know going into the event where those are at and you can take advantage of them. So those are all of the tips that they share as far as tips for little ones, must-dos for adults, and holiday tips and tricks. Ultimately, I think the best thing to do if you're going to one of these events is to plan out your evening ahead of time, look and see what kind of activities and events are offered during the event, so that way you can absolutely make the most of your time and money whenever you're there. So these were helpful tips that Disney shared. Hopefully they were helpful for you if you're going to the trip or to the party. Let me know if you are checking out the Very Merry Christmas Party and if you have any other questions. But other than that, that is the tips that Disney shared, and I hope you found them helpful.